someone to raise their hand so that they read to me the first question. Someone with a good accent. Then pakuti ngaberengaira question bwangu bwangu nga twamba okusolva twambika okusolva kuno nkiwa muntu wasilo kwati nimbyale preacher message therefore abantu kwati fira a Pentecostal pastor or someone kwati aleberenga news someone wakwatako accent yakutira tekitumulekode n'okumutola pa Facebook yo. So someone to read the first question if you have it or if you copied it. Guys, anyone? Anyone to read the first question? Crispin.
Sir, I'm not about to read the question. I just want to make sure to be sure the questions are the ones that you sent in the comment there on today's post.
Modi Study Master.
Modi Study Master, those questions that are just, they are not the...
My PDF files into me.
Oh, you sent...
I sent them earlier today.
Okay, let me just check.
Okay. Who else is there? Hey, Mapalo.
I can read now.
Please.
Question 1. It reads as follows.
Question 1 yeka mayo, so not kuya sana ti question 2. Just read question 1 very well, okay?
Okay.
All right, sharp.
3 finalists in a contest are brought to the center of a large flat field. Each is given a meter stick, a compass, a calculator, a shovel, and open bracket in a different order for each contestant, close bracket. The following 3 displacements: 72.4 meters, 32.0 degrees east of north, 57.3 meters, 36.0 degrees south of west, 17.8 meters due south. The 3 displacements lead to the point in the field where the keys to a new Bugatti are buried. 2 players start measuring immediately, but the winner first calculates where to go. Where does she calculate?
Okay. What does she calculate? What do you think she calculates? And guys, so what you have there in your question are displacement vectors. So you have 3 displacements. Why are they displacements? Because they are distances that have direction on them. There are different types of directions. Sometimes the direction can be minus, positive, or it can just be the angle. But for this one, it's to elaborate the direction. So we have 72.4 meters, 32 degrees east of north. 32 degrees east of north, 57.3 meters, 36 degrees south of west, and 17.8 meters due south or straight south. So those are 3 displacement vectors. So you have 3 vectors. So now, for you to reach where the keys to the Bugatti are, what has to be calculated? Yes, Kizito. Kizito, you've raised your hand. Kizito Chibwe. I don't think this is this Ala Asuka. So what do you think she calculates, guys? Anyone? Even guesswork is allowed. What do you think she calculates? Crispin, your hand is still up. I'm sure it's for the first time that you asked it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I was asking that if you have 3 displacements and you want to get to the keys of the Bugatti, what should be calculated? So what must be calculated, guys, is the resultant. It is the sum of these vectors. Always think in that line. If you have vectors, in most cases, you're looking for the resultant. So in this case, we're looking for the resultant of the 3 displacements. But to get that, there are so many people. I'm sure if it's a contest, you don't struggle that much. You just start calculating because you must be very good at the physics. But for solving a question like that for us, we must use the Cartesian plane as our compass. So the first thing you will do is you draw the lines. North, that's a vertical line crossed by a horizontal line. So kulaba di mu Lusaka bateefunye ekinyanja kya Maka. So that's the case. So the first thing you do is draw something like this, a compass. Don't worry if you can't see properly. I'll make sure that I write these things. I've promised you the solutions. Are we there? I'll send the solutions. So I'll send the solutions. So now, have you all drawn this? You must. So then from there, we'll draw the vectors which are there. From there, we'll draw the vectors which are there. The vectors that are there are 72.4 meters, 32 degrees east of north. 72.4 meters, 32 degrees east of north. Meaning, guys, apo forever, padi what of north? What happened padi of? The one which says of, like it says east of north. So the one which says of, that's why you draw the angle from. So the angle will be drawn from the north going east. So don't draw with a protractor, just draw anything as long as you can see it. You have 72.4 meters, then there's 32 degrees. Then the next vector, so this is how you draw it. The angle is drawn from the north because it says of north. So meaning where it says south of west, it will be drawn from the west line going south. So you draw west going south like that. So you say 57.3 meters, 36 degrees. South meaning going down from the west. So it's very important to confirm everyone that of. More about my writers put body of watch if you put. So now guys, what do you do with the 17.8 meters? Where do you draw it from? Anyone? Where do you think you have to draw the 17.8 meters due south?
At 180 degrees there, the straight line. Yeah, south.
South, meaning just following where it's south. South is down, isn't it? North is up, south is down, east is to the right, west is to east is to the right, west is to the left. So just here from the origin, you just draw Akadife south. Apapene straight I can explain to you one time, a guy asafiro kusanga ine question. Kusasa umuntu na imyo kuboko for 30 minutes. Kusa apa table pala atisa ngamwampera fyango nishina apuisha. Kaipati for straight south. Nishina draw correct amangos. So if someone says straight east, it means you start from the origin, go east. Straight west, you go west. Straight north, you go north. So this is the first step of going about a problem like this. You draw. I would rather you do that in my classes. Unless we win now, now fish, but when we win. Then the next thing you do is you must know all students take chemistry. All students take chemistry. Then you must know the quadrants. But just by looking at this, the directions are a guide. So you draw a table. This is the resultant. Resultant is R. And then the R, it has two components. So like if you have R there, the components are, there's a horizontal component which is X, and the vertical component which is Y. Each vector has two components. A drawn vector at an angle has two components, X and Y. So you find these two, the X's and the Y, then you find the summation of them. So what you will do now, you draw a table for X and Y. So you draw a table like that, X and Y. Then on this very table now, you will find the trig functions. You find the trig functions. So for X, this one, the 72.4, this is where it is this line, the magnitude of that line. This is the 7.3, it's the magnitude of that line. So for your X, for this side in this quadrant, X is positive because it's going to the left, and Y is also positive because it's going up. So you find the X and the Y. So how do you find the X? It matters where the angle is subtended from. If the angle is subtended from the north-south line, then X will always be the vector you've drawn there, sine the angle. But if you do the normal, because most of the time in the normal, the angle is always with the horizontal. I'm sure you've done that before in secondary school. The angle is mostly with the horizontal. It means X is cos and Y is sine. Because if the angle is here, if your angle is there, theta, this is opposite over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is this. Then this one is adjacent over hypotenuse. So those are the things that you do. So you solve. So you put now, the angle here is with the vertical, the angle there is with the horizontal. So for this one, these two, the X and the Y will be positive. But for this one, the X is going to the left, while the Y is going down. I'm sure you've seen that, isn't it? Have you seen that, guys? Have you seen, guys? Friends?
Yes, we have seen.
Okay. So now let me I'll put the values. So for this one, let me write them. So for the first one, in the first one, for the 72.4 and the 32 degrees east of north, if you want, we can even agree together. Would you rather we bring the angle down here? Because when you bring the angle down here, it will be 58. Guys, if you have two angles and they add up to 90, the sine of one is equal to the cos of the other one. Meaning, if you do sine 20 and the cos 70, the answers are the same. Sine 45, cos 45, the answers are the same. Sine 30, which is 0.5, and cos 60 is also 0.5. If you have two angles which add up to 90, the sine of one is equal to the cos of the other one. Meaning, cos 10 is equal to sine 80. So always remember that. I'm sure this maths you are doing it in paper 1, but you just didn't know, because paper 1 doesn't use a calculator. So they will give you maybe sine 30, and then they ask you for cos 60. Some of you are complaining, I have to pay in a calculator, but if for cos 60, all they wanted was for you to reason to say, if you have two angles that add up to 90, the sine of one is equal to the cosine of the other one. So you write. So now if you want, you can drop here and use 58, meaning x will be cos and y will be sine. But if the angle is here with the vertical, x is sine and y is cos. So let me write them the way I'm trying to say. So meaning the first value, you say 72.4 sine 32 for x. Then for y, you say 72.4 cos 32. If you want, you can say cos 58. So you write them like that. You write them like that. Both of them are positive because they are in the first quadrant. But for this one, you can even see the x is going left while the y is going down. So you say minus 57.3 cos 36. Why cos 36? Because the angle is with the horizontal. If the angle is with the vertical, you do the otherwise. So now this one will be minus 57.3 sine 36. So that's how it is. So that's how it is. So now, guys, how about the 17.8? What do you put it? As x or y? The 17.8. Do you put it as x or y? Mwabasa mute, guys.
I think X. You should put it in Y.
You put it in y because the y-axis is not south, isn't it? What
Yes.
would it be, positive or negative?
It will be negative since
It's going south, isn't it?
Yes.
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 So this would be minus 17.8 meters. So you get your x and you also get your y. When you get your x and the y, remember x is horizontal, y is vertical. You will see whether it's negative or positive, then you replot it on the Cartesian plane. When you plot, then you use your Pythagoras theorem to get the angle. So you will say r equals the root of x squared plus y squared. Then you get your angle and say theta is equal to tan inverse y over x. Why? Because y is the vertical and also the opposite of the angle, and x is the horizontal. So this is how you do. Try to do this. I'll give you some practice time so that you do this and understand. Are there any questions? Because we have, I think, 10 minutes before the close. Then we'll restart the session at 17:15 because I have to give you some time to breathe. Yeah, even to make a text message. No, babe, I'm in class doing my diploma. Any question? Clopas? Are there any questions, guys?
Sir, just raise the paper. We see one more time.
You told me here?
Up. Yes. One more up. Up. Put it up. Okay.
Okay. So these formulas, guys, will be given to you. Are you getting? When solving, whatever I'll send, I'll put a summary of these things. Mapalo, you have a question?
I wanted to see there why you put the X and Y.
So every vector at an angle can conclude a triangle. It can conclude a triangle, like it can become a triangle in the end. So the vector at an angle is the hypotenuse. So this one is the hypotenuse, the very vector that you've been given. And then it always has components. They are called components of the vector. There's always x in the horizontal and y in the vertical. Even here, there's x in the horizontal and y the vertical. So usually also has x and y. So always. So to solve, you have to use SOHCAHTOA. You remember SOHCAHTOA, isn't it? So those are the things. So you have to use SOHCAHTOA to solve. Remember, guys? So SOHCAHTOA is sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. But then you change them because the triangles change if the angles, because in a triangle, this is a right angle triangle. This is a right angle triangle. So you agree with me that the angle here, if this is 32, it's making a Z with this one, this other one. So it means even here, 32. So it means if this is 32, this one is 58. That's why I was saying a cos here, cos is actually the adjacent is the y. The adjacent is the y. So that's the reasoning. So now I want you to ask me some more questions. Mapalo, am I clear? Mapalo, am I clear? Tamuli ask guys, ninji. Mule mnoka chikambo kosa. Ain. Any other questions, guys? Kizito.
Sir,
Yes. Yes, Kizito. Oh, you don't have a question. Anyone with a question?
no.
I'm sure you remember formula. Imitinya sana mwaishalepo Pythagoras theorem. Hypotenuse squared equals opposite squared over adjacent plus adjacent squared. I'm sure you did this. Like in any kind of mbafe kale maneka ara somani mwana alimbika kooni wapangire wine ya yanyu. But it's not the case. Mamfare? I'm expecting a question at least. That's the only way. So you practice a bit, then we'll solve question 2. Then the other stuff I'll give you. Any question?
For this other one, the 17.8 meter to south.
Yeah.
Since we have said that in this one the y is negative 17.8, meaning the x is 0.
The x is 0, yes, because there's no x. It's on the y-axis. If something was on the y-axis,
Yes.
it doesn't have x. Yes, sir. Magamba,
Okay, I've gotten that.
you've understood?
Yes, I have.
Anything else? Because I'm expecting you to practice muka prediction na calculator mukwate. The calculator must always be in degrees. Worst case scenario, guys, is calculator yobe kanshi now to ala ilimu ma radians. Wapuisha na exam with the calculator ma radians. Hello, for the boy tomorrow we discuss some answers. Washimira kwa wana watsanga idea chikwata 40 elo gonse pamugumu bakani na pamukutira te 40 iyo ni tu nokulwala walwala. Mambo for your life. So always make sure you reset your calculator. If you have that sharp calculator kadakasumaka kwata after reset pan like you just press a pen before your exam, you press the pen at the back there. One more exam. Gaudeti na imbina utininga posana watu wako ebiti nani ulatininga vya kutingata wishibe, again you reset your calculator because always the calculator must always be in degrees. Gabriel, you have a question? Gabriel, do you have a question? I can't get you. Crispin, do you have a question?
Yes. So on the first question, it was just requiring us to to mention that these guys were actually calculating the resistance. Where the keys are, so the resultant.
No, Bakamba, this is physics. Physics kwamba okusolva na answer wapela answer yakwata n'okukwata okutila shanshani uko shanshani of shan. That's how it should be. Like in Gosa asuka fefyo ni shule asuka news. ZNB news wasuka. Physics ni kwamba okusolva hiyo. Afo yabo. It's the same as if mwasuka ba Crispin chimo mugazi kula twali ku CBU. Elo basayipitwe bati mu draw a table mu isometric na orthographic ena nokusaka draw afe muri free and yakali table akasoma half man okufuma within 10 minutes which the paper was for 3 hours. It was a terrorized kanshara paper ko ile for ya makaida if you stick. Gabriel, do you have a question? Gabriel?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
I just want to ask, since you said about negative 17.8, what is the angle of it to the y-axis?
There's no need of knowing what angle it is, although the angle is 270. Why 270? Because it should be with the east. The east is the origin for angles. Most all the angles start from here and go anti-clockwise. So this is 270 because these are 90, 90, 90, and 90. So 90 times 3 I'm sure is 270, isn't it? So this angle is 270, but there's no need of doing all that. And then you realize also when you press on your calculator to say cos 270, the answer will be 0. But when you press sin 270, the answer will be negative 1. I'm sure you've done that before then. Therefore, guys.
Yes, sir.
Cos 270 is the same as cos 90. Try one channel if a guy is after you, then I manifesto. Then you just say, I thought about what you told me. The answer is cos 90. So these are the things. Go through, guys. Then I'll come and solve the